All right, Black Box Radio. Listen, guys, I am so excited. It is the second half of, I'm telling you, probably the most important series of 2025 is the Men in Black series, where we just hold up Black men. We show love to Black men. So I just want to say, we at 5 or 8. You see my man over there. We got Troy Staton. I'm gonna get to him, but I'm gonna do a little work. And you see, he looking good over there, guys. I'm telling you, he look like the white angel sitting there in all that white. I love a Black man doing it like that. But yes, I got a little business to take care of. My name is Queen. I'm a host of Black Box Radio. We are a multimedia platform illustrating Black excellence. We platform Black people. We expose Black genius. And more than anything, we disseminate information to the Black community and other communities. Also, we humanize the Black experience. That's the most important thing, is to have an authentic space for Black people. So that's what we do 6 to 8, 9 times a month. Please come in, like, share, subscribe our content, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to build our YouTube channel and build this Black space. Again, like, share, subscribe. One thing I also want you guys to know what we're doing over here. We have space for other folks. So if you have a blog, you have a talk show, you have a podcast, we can develop that for you, and that can be on the platform. So you'll get a private producer. We'll be able to kind of tweak what you want to say, what you want to do, and put it into a show format. So please email us at blackboxradio@gmail.com, and we'll be able to help you with that. Put in the subject line new show. So other than that, the business is done. This is the real deal. The Men in Black series has been so fly, guys. We've had, this is our fifth iteration of a Black man. We've had one last Sunday. We've had Brother Kareem. He was in the Philippines. I want you to go check that out. That's on YouTube, where he talks about being international Black. He has a coffee brand in the Philippines. And then we had Brother Kwame. He's in North Carolina. It was amazing. We talked about kidney disease and Black men getting healthy. So that was a beautiful experience. And then we had a brother he's from out of the DC area. And he makes grills. He makes jewelry, but he's also a PhD student at Temple. He's an educator. So it's like a Black man being in every realm. So check him out too. He's on YouTube. And then we also have Brother Sidney. Brother Sidney he's a principal in Baltimore City. He was 4 of 8. And he talked about being a principal on his team and pouring into Black minds. So we got Black men doing such amazing things, because we live in the U.S. and Black men get a hard shape. We as Black women, we know, but Black men definitely get a hard shape. So it is so good to see Black men just really, really being extraordinary in their space. So listen, we got another one. We got Troy Staton. Say hi to the people, bro.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Troy Staton, the
Troy
founder of
Staton.
More Than a Shop.
That's right. That's right. And we're going to talk about that. Found more than a shop, a master barber, educator. Listen, I'm from Baltimore. Troy is a community giant, guys. He's sitting there all chill, but he's a community giant. He knows that he's the plug. Y'all know the plug? That's the plug. Troy is the plug and be more. I'm trying to tell you. He had one of the nicest shops in Baltimore. And he's an art guy. So we're going to talk about all pieces of Troy, but kind of tell us first where you from in Baltimore. And because, we always rep in Baltimore, like where you from, high school, that type of area. So tell us a little bit about that. And then we'll get into more than a shop and all that good stuff.
So I'm from Southwest Baltimore. And
Okay.
when I say Southwest, I mean actually Southwest Baltimore. As a small child, I was born and raised in Cherry Hill in South
Okay.
Baltimore. So
South
Cherry
Baltimore.
Hill historically and nationally was the largest all Black community in the nation.
It was.
Everything that I ever encountered as a small child was Black.
Mm.
Police, it was normal to go to the hospital. Is When I was a kid, it was South Baltimore General. So it was normal to see
Mm.
a Black doctor, yet alone
Oh.
a Black woman doctor. Nurses, the schools were Black. The first Head Start program in the nation actually was piloted in Cherry Hill. It was
What?
normal to have a Black principal, a Black vice principal. The gym teachers was black. We only had a few white people who worked in the schools,
Wow.
and they were, that was it. The shopping center was black. The liquor store, we had a black supermarket, gas
Wow.
station. Um,
Wow. You grew up on the
everything
Black
was black.
Island.
Yeah,
You grew
everything
up.
was black. I didn't have no actual encounters or relationships with white people until I went to high school. And that was
Wow.
Southern High, then now it's called Digital Harbor. And
That's
then from
amazing.
there, then from
Wow.
there, I went to Emerson High, which historically was another all black school where I took up barbering. And that was
Mm.
also all black. And that was in West Baltimore. And when I left Cherry Hill, I went to Lexington Terrace.
Wow.
So that's my West Baltimore. And those years transpired from my teenage years, from the age of like 18 to the present day. So when I say Southwest Baltimore, I truly mean Southwest Baltimore.
I'm telling you. Most I don't know, people see us from all over, but most people know Baltimore is it's a black city. So at this
Yeah,
point, I think it's about 67% black. It's been over 70 for many years.
yes,
But yeah, over 70% black. So Baltimore, it's not hard to in Baltimore not to, everyone's black. The leadership is black. You see a lot of blackness in Baltimore. There's two HBCUs in Baltimore City.
yeah.
Which I went to one of them, Morgan State. That's how I got to Baltimore. And I've never, when I left Troy, I'd never seen them so many black people all over the place. On campus definitely, but when you went off campus in Baltimore, you saw black people, and that was strange for me. I came from down south; it's all very white, and others, but mostly white. And I never experienced so many black people in leadership, and teachers, and the firemen, the police. Everyone's black, and
Yes,
so for you, but you're like this happened your whole life, like when you were a child, like that's
it
all
was
you saw was
normal.
black people.
Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't have no interactions with white people or any other nationality until my later teenage years. And so
Wow.
my perception and my interactions was totally because I dealt with people for whom they were, you
Okay.
know. So, um, and Baltimore had always been a very segregated city.
Mhm.
So, like I say,
The
growing
blackest
up in
butterfly.
South Baltimore, down in Fed Hill, that was white. You had another
Mm.
all black community that you knew that once you went past,
Park Heights.
no, 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 in South Baltimore, so like off of Charles Street in
Oh,
Henrietta, and
okay.
the black community, that was black. But like White
Really?
Street,
Mhm.
all of that was white, and you knew your place,
Mm.
even
Wow.
with Cross Street Market. Yes. So like when you got past Dan Brothers on Charles Street and Hanover Street, one side was primarily white, the other side was black. And if you wasn't a native of there and from that community, you knew your place as a child. And that was in the 70s as well as to the early 80s.
And that's something, and because we try to act as if everything is so free, but that's not really true. Even in Baltimore now,
Right.
it's a black butterfly, like in a white
Yes.
owl. So it's been segregated to a way that even though it's percentagely black, it still has a lot of separation. And then you can 2 streets away, it can be a white neighborhood, and it's particularly white. But there is definitely some movement, but definitely it still has that issue. Am I correct?
Well, now it's more of a gentrification.
Well,
And,
gentrification is
and,
real.
and, and with gentrification, where once upon a time Baltimore was primarily a blue collar city, there's no
Mm.
longer blue collar city. Baltimore has transitioned more into more of a metropolitan.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
All of
like
the
as
older
a
cities are doing that. Yes.
so like growing up in Baltimore, you could identify what part of a town a person came from by their phone number, as well
Ooh.
as their dress code. When I say the dress code, people in Cherry Hill dress a certain way. But like over West Baltimore, people in Cherry Hill, they had like goals. But people over East Baltimore off of Greenmount, they might have had multiple goals where theirs might have been on like the side of their mouth or the
Mm-hmm.
bottom, and you could tell by the goals or
Really? In the
where
mouth,
they
where they
yeah
were
in the
from.
mouth. And like
Wow.
over East Baltimore, you could tell by the sneakers that certain people wore, the tennis
Oh,
shoes,
wow.
because they
Mm,
had shoe stores like Sports Smart and
mm.
Old Town Mall, where they had like a lot of Nikes and Pumas, and you could tell by their in like the sweatsuits that they wore, because you didn't have access to them unless you could go from part of the town and you had to know the right person.
Wow. So
Because
even
Baltimore
in the
was
black
quite
community, was
segregated.
some a little bit of segregation in the black community where you knew where you were from by how you
Yeah,
presented. Wow.
yeah. Like West Side, it was like growing up, Howard Street was a mutual ground.
Okay.
Everything was black down there. Everybody could go down there. But at nighttime, you couldn't primarily go beyond Utah Street because that was white on the backside of Lexington Market. Not white, it was black, and that was West Baltimore.
That's another
On
side.
that side of Lexington Market, on the back of Utah. So, and in MLK, if you wasn't from Lexington Terrace or Murphy Homes,
Mm-mm.
that was not permitted.
Do not go on the west side.
If you
Wow.
wasn't a West Baltimore native,
Hmm.
no. You knew your place. You knew your
Wow.
place.
That's something. And if you're not from Baltimore, you really don't know that. You don't know that history. So that's a little history you gave us. So I definitely appreciate that. So let me ask you a question. Barbering. How'd you get into barbering? And how long have you been barbering?
I've been a barber since the age of 13.
Somebody came in.
Yeah,
Somebody's in
that's
the
my
house.
wife. That's my wife.
Hello, wife. Go ahead.
So I've been a barber since the age of 13. I started cutting hair
13.
on my mother's porch as a child.
Wow.
Um, it was the early 80s. My mother cut me and my brother hair,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't go to school with that haircut, so I went on in the bathroom and tried to straighten that haircut out, and I did pretty good. And my brother, he was like, "Can you do me?" And then another friend was like, "All right." And the barbering just came natural. And
Mm. So it
as a
started when your
small,
mom messed you up. So you had to fix
yeah,
that.
it wasn't a whole lot of going to the barber shops back then. You know what I
Really?
mean? You might have went if you had a few dollars and you could go there, but when I went to the barber shop as a kid, I went to the barber shop for maybe like
Mm-hmm.
um, back to school, Easter, or a funeral or a special where you needed a haircut with a shape up and a lineup.
So it's not no
Other than
every day
that,
now. Like they go every week. So that it wasn't none of that
no,
going
no,
on.
I didn't know, no, no. Mr. Joe might cut your hair if he had a pair of clippers and he just cut your hair off your head. But in the 80s, you got Run DMC and
Mm-hmm.
rap is coming along, and the girls, and I'm in junior high school, and I couldn't go there, so I went and straightened that hair cut out, and like I said, it was in my early teenage years, in my early adolescence, 13,
So you
and
did
from
everybody in
one,
the neighborhood. So you was the
so yeah,
neighborhood
and that's what
barber.
happened. I went from
Mm.
one friend to another friend, and they was willing to let me practice, and then what happened was I'm cutting hair and I'm just doing it, and somebody said, you could get a couple dollars for this, and from there I went on and I started charging
$1.
a
$1.
dollar, $1 because I was practicing, I was learning, I was doing
Wow.
everything with one set of clippers. I would cut your
Really?
hair, shape you up,
Line.
fade you,
Oh wow.
everything, and adjust the blade with the
Edge it up.
wall,
Wow.
everything. And
Everything. Wow.
um and I was going, and then somebody was like, you could get a few more dollars and you charge three. And from there I started gaining a little bit of notoriety
Mm-hmm.
because I was a little kid cutting hair, and back then, that wasn't popular. Because only
Okay.
people was cutting hair was regular barbers, the senior members, and that wasn't it. And from
Did you ever
there,
do it under anyone? Did you ever go like in a shop
so
and
what
be
happened with that was I'm cutting hair, and a friend of mine, her father, he would come by, he would come get a haircut, and he would always call me a jackleg. He said, "You all right, but you a jackleg. You don't have no license." You know what I mean? But
uh
he wouldn't let nobody else cut his hair, right? And there was a barber shop that was up in the Cherry Hill Shopping Center, and this guy, he was Mr. Heavy. He was a traditional black man. Mr. Heavy was a thick, heavy set guy. He didn't say no whole lot. And I would come in there and I would sit and I would ask him questions. And I would like come in there and I would sit and watch him. And my brother, so at this time I'm about like 16 now. And my brother is at Emerson, and Emerson Westside had the barber. They had just kicked off the Emerson Westside Skill Center. And this
okay.
is in the early middle 80s, and they had Barber in there. And my brother, being my brother, he would tease me like, "Man, you all right, but the boys up at the skill center can really cut hair." And I went up
Mm,
to the shopping center and I started sitting in the barber shop, and I would sit in there and I would ask them questions, and I would sweep up the hair. And my friends, well, they would tease me. They said, "You there, puppy, all you do is sweep up the hair, you go to the store, and you would do whatever they wanted." But I understood that if I could get just this much of the skill set of what they had, I would have a chance. And at that time, you know, I'm starting to charge like three. Sometimes I was getting $5, and Mr. Heavy was like, "Listen, you need to go to school and get your license." And I was like, "Can I
mm,
get that chair right there?" He was like, "Go to school first and get that license." So he motivated me to go to school
okay.
to
Got
get my
got it.
license.
Got
And
it.
I went to the West Side Skill Center, and Mr. Heavy and the guy Kazi became my first set of mentors.
Mm,
And with that, what was so informative was Mr. Heavy and Kazi used to say, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll be able to live and take care of himself.
mhm,
And they was my first set of fishermen who taught me how to
mm.
fish.
Wow, okay. So Mr. Heavy was very important in your life at
Mr. Heavy
some point.
was very informative because he believed in me. He instilled something in me. And with that, all I knew was Cherry Hill. And as a kid, my whole life mission was to work at that shopping center and to work
Mm,
beside Mr. Heavy in between Kazi. And he told me to go to school. And I went to school, and I remember at this time, it's like 86, 87,
mhm.
and everything is changing now. And I'm becoming a neighborhood
Icon.
icon. I'm building my popularity. I'm living at the shop. I'm living in Cherry Hill. My mother's a shopping center. My mother go and to the market, and she walking home, and guys would pull over and be like, "Hey, you Troy mother? You need some help with your bags? Get in the car." They would drive her home. I was like, "What?" And she was like, "I can't even go to the store because everybody know I'm your mother." And and it
That's
was
good.
happening. And I went there, and I went to the skill center. And when I went to the skill center, I met my second set of mentors.
Hmm.
That was Mr. Harry from Harry's Afro Hut.
Oh, maybe Afro Hut down the street from
And
Morgan.
and Cornell Cottrell from Had Dimensions. He was a platform artist and a barber stylist because he had a beauty salon, but he was a barber and he did everything with the women hair where he could style hair as
Mm-hmm.
well as barber, and he was doing platform, and he was working and doing shows for.
Troy, what is that? What is a platform artist? Give us, educate
He
us.
was
What's
a
that?
platform artist where he did hair shows
Okay,
and
got it.
had demonstrations, and
Got
he
it. Got it.
traveled around and he worked for Vidal Sassoon,
Mm, I
Paul
remember that.
Mitchell,
Mm-hmm.
and Dudley's back then was just starting.
Mm.
And I wanted to work, and I went to the skill center, and when I went to the skill center, I knew by that time I wanted to be a barber because I was
Okay.
cutting hair on the porch and I was making more money than my mother was making. And she
Whoa.
was working at Merlin Cup.
Wait a minute. So you
And
was cutting everybody in so people was pulling up from all over to get your hair cut in Cherry Hill.
yes, because I
Wow.
had became a barber phenom. So
I love it.
I was
Ah,
cutting people hair and my name was buzzing and I was a kid and this was in the 80s when like Heavy D had the hot top with the pot
yep.
and Rakim and Eric B had the haircuts with the swoosh and
They had the Gumby
you
and
could
all that
the
was out.
Gumby. So like when a
Yeah.
person come, they would say, "Listen, I wanna rock him.
Hmm.
Cut my hair like Heavy D, um, Big Daddy Kane."
Yes. I
Haircuts
remember.
was identified by the rappers.
Got it. Got it.
Okay,
Hmm.
the females was doing hair. There was like the salt and peppers with the tilts
Yeah.
and all of that. So I could cut hair and I would cut everyone hair and people would come all around the city from East Baltimore. My mother porch
What?
had became a central
This,
location and I was
wow.
cutting hair on the porch. And I was really cutting hair. I mean, like
Well,
to
wait
the
a minute.
point
You
where
never went inside. You never went in the basement. It was always the front
so what
porch.
happened was I was cutting hair on a porch, and when it would get cold, I turned my first shop was actually my mother's pantry
Oh,
because I
wow.
was cutting hair and it was getting cold and people, and I wasn't too good with going in everybody's house because it still was the 80s. A lot was going on in our community,
Sure.
you
Sure. Sure.
know, and the
Mm-hmm.
house calls wasn't it. And I was like, "Man, look, you let me turn the pantry into my barber shop, and I give you a couple dollars." And
Oh.
she was like, "No, you ain't got to do it." But I had my own sense of independence. With
Mm-hmm.
that being said, I had my own money, and that also helped me to take care of myself. Because at that point, I'm telling my mother, "You take care of my brother, you take care of him, I'll take care of myself." So I could buy my own clothes.
Wow.
When me and my buddies would go to the movies downtown, I had the money. We could all go
Yeah.
to the movie. We could go to McDonald's, and but I had a sense of independence, a sense of
Y-
self, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
and I could get my own Air Force Ones, my own shell hood Adidas, my own sweatsuits, as well as at this point I could travel through the city, Baltimore, freely because I was a barber. And back
Yes.
then, the only people that could travel the city freely was athletes and drug dealers, was because they had a universal pass. So I could go anywhere in the city at that time because I had gained a reputation for being haircut. He could cut your hair. So people
Wow.
from East Baltimore, West Baltimore, South Baltimore would come out to Cherry Hill and they could get a haircut. So that helped
Wow.
me to build my network throughout the city.
Well, you know what? It sounds like barbering was your networking too, because you're still, and that's why I say you're a community giant. You know a lot of people, but it started
Yes,
with barbering.
it started with barbering.
Everything
And then,
started at the
yeah.
barbershop. Yeah.
And so when
Wow.
I left the skill center, I worked for Cornell Cottrell at Hair Dimensions on Maryland Avenue on 25th Street. And he introduced me to another legendary hairstylist named was Miss Claudia McGee from Main Attractions. And I went to
Yes.
Main Attractions because I was a young guy in my teens cutting hair. She wanted a barber, and that's where all the pretty girls was. So I
You was
went
ready to
down
go.
there chasing the girls, and
Mm-hmm.
I learned about hair from about everything from the neck on up, from shampooing because I was a shampoo person as when I wasn't barbering, working in the salons, and then I was had a short spin over at Old Town Mall with Mr. Roger, the hair doctor
Wow.
at Sportsman's, and then from there, I,
Wow. This is history. You
then
naming
from there
all of
I
the
met
old
my
shops,
fond. Yeah,
Ma-
yeah. Then from there I
main
went to
attractions, all of these old
yeah,
shops. Yeah.
and then from
Mhm.
there I met Mr. Wink.
Here we go. Listen here. Look,
Yeah,
look,
I
look at
met
here.
Mr.
You said
Wink.
wonder if he knows Uncle Wink of WW Barbershop and Salon on my father and Mr. Rob who transitioned. So someone asked about
Okay.
that.
Yep.
Dr. Da.
Yep. I met Mr. Wink, and then from there, I didn't stay with Mr. Wink. I met him, but it was the '90s. It was the '80s was moving real fast, and then I went to and met my last mentor, and that was Mr. Lenny Clay at the House of Naturals, Lenny's House of Naturals.
Wow,
So
these are
at this
amazing
point in
shops.
time, I go to Mr. Lenny's, and from all these other shops, I knew that it was something more there because this was the time that I had came into the a place and it was culture there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, you had celebrities there who came through there. Anyone who was someone of any status came through there. So this is the first time from me cutting hair, and now I'm actually there. And you had people that I've seen on television my whole life. Like Al
Wow.
Sanders was a news anchor. He
Mm-hmm.
came to there. Um,
How old were you when you were there? How
when
old
I
were you?
was at Mr. Lenny's, I was like 19, 20.
Oh, so you were young and you were in the midst of
So,
everything.
so that's what I'm saying. So I went from, and my story is like how you see the old karate masters, karate pictures. I went from one master to another master to another
Wow.
master.
Wow. You're
Okay,
blessed.
and and
Mm-hmm.
and each one I got something from each one. See,
Hmm.
at Hair Dimensions with Cornell, I learned how to shampoo hair and do everything except for curling.
Okay.
But I knew how to do wet sets, jerry curls,
Wow.
relaxers. Um, Back then they called them texturizers. When you put
Mm,
the texturizer and you put the jerry curl activator and give them the wet look.
exactly.
Um, then with Mr. Harry, he had a whole nother atmosphere and a whole nother ambiance. So I learned his style and his technique. With Mr. Heavy, he was an alpha man. He said very little, but he
Mm,
spoke, and he if he didn't have nothing good to say, he wouldn't say nothing at all. And then
mm,
with Kazi was the barber who taught me um, about respect and dignity. And when I say respect and dignity, it was a time I was at the shop with with Kazi, and a guy came by and Kazi yelled, he said, "Hey man, come here, I want you to go to the store for me, give me a sandwich." And the guy, he called him inside. He sent them to go get him a sandwich and get two sodas. And then the guy sat in there for a minute and he was like, "Oh man, I'm getting busy. I ain't gonna be able to eat this sandwich. Could you help me out and do me a favor?" I said, "What?" He said, go ahead and knock that out for me, man. I appreciate it because I ain't gonna be able to get it. And then when the guy left, I said, "Kazi, why you do that? You wasn't when." He said, "Listen," he said the man was hungry, but he ain't gonna ask nobody. He too much. He said, "You don't take a man away a man's dignity. If nothing
mhm.
else, you don't do that."
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So he had taught
Mm,
me about boundaries and dignity.
mhm.
When I went to Mr. Lenny's,
And knowing your
Mr.
client.
Lenny, yeah, Mr. Lenny was the gentleman, like I said, I experienced like black judges,
Mm.
politicians, elected officials. I met the great Elijah Cummings.
Okay. So Mr. Lenny was
And
popping. That was the spot.
Mr.
That's where
Lenny
everybody came.
was, yeah, and he's still here today. Mr.
Really?
Lenny cut people like Oprah Winfrey hair,
Wow.
Jerry's,
Okay.
Al Sanders,
Mm-hmm.
um, Brooks Robinson, anyone that was someone. Mr. Lenny was the gentleman that I'm in a barber shop one day and I see this young guy, this guy come in, he got this very coarse hair. He come in, he say, Lenny, I'm thinking about running for office and he's talking to Lenny and I'm like, okay. He said, I'm running for the mayor. I'm like, okay.
That's smoke.
Yeah, and Mr. Lenny had my chair right beside his chair, right?
Mm.
And about 6 months later, I hear this guy, they talking about this guy gonna run for be the first black man that's running for the office. Okay. A year later, as I'm turning on TV, I'm like, that's the guy that been coming here talking to Mr. Lenny.
Oh wow.
After the election, he won. He was sworn in. The Tahoe pulled up. The security come in there. They come into the barber shop. And the black man that's elected, he walks in, he speaks to everybody, he shakes everybody's hand, then he walk over to Mr. and then he look him in his face and I say, I want to thank you for your support. And this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you. And that's when it let me know that,
Barbers matter.
yes, that barbers has a lot more than what it is. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
seen these things like when the Nation of Islam was preparing for the Million Man March, and we used to cut a lot of brothers from the nation hair. When the brothers was doing the detail for Spike Lee movies, um,
Mm.
Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, Malcolm. We were the ones when Minister Farrakhan would come to barbershop, would come to Baltimore, he would request Lenny to sit down and they would eat ice cream.
Wow. Lenny was
Yes,
well connected. Well
he
connected.
still is. He still is. He still
Wow.
and then in the space, I understood that he told me and he showed me and he instilled that being a barber meant more than just cutting hair. You had an
Mm.
obligation to your community and to your people because these are the same people that come in here, come to you, and you provide a service, but they support you and help you take care of your family.
Hmm.
So the least you can do is provide a haircut. You have an obligation to your community, and if you can do something, do it.
Wow. So that really segues into your life, into what you're doing now. But we
Yeah,
before
that
we get to what
segue to yeah
yeah, but
to
before
the
we get to what
experience
you
that you experience. Well, I say that's my
exactly.
way of giving back.
Yeah. So
Just
talk
saying thank
about
you.
you and your own because I know at some point you got your own shop. And let's
Yes.
talk about that a little.
So what happened um was working at Mr. Lenny's, and it was time to leave.
Mm.
And another gentleman had opened up a shop down the street, and I went down there to work there,
Okay.
and it was in the middle of gentrification that was taking place in the 21223
Okay.
Southwest Baltimore. It was on
Southwest
Stroke,
Baltimore.
yeah,
Hmm.
right down the street from between Lexington Terrace and Lexington Terrace and the Mount in Calhoun area. It was on
Okay.
Schroeder Street. It was a restaurant. It was a black restaurant that was Samson's, and right across the street, we opened up
Mm.
our first little spot. University of
Mm.
Maryland had came in with gentrification, and they moved us out.
Is
And
that
what took
right?
place was, um, I had heard about what gentrification, what was going to take place, but I'm young and I'm not really paying attention, but I hear and I watch the planning and I see what's taking place. And University of Maryland came down there on Stroder Street to the shop owner. And what took
Mm.
place was they offered it was $745,000 on the table. 400 and
For a barbershop? I mean, for the building.
For the whole building, and for,
Wow.
see, the gentleman, he owned apartment, and on the top and down the bottom he had a commercial space that was a salon and a barber shop that me and my
Okay.
partner had rented, and
Sure.
we had the lease for that. And they was $314,000 for the relocation of Salon 25,
Wow.
right? And that was a lot of money for me and my partner to split. And it was another 420 20 or 30 for the apartment and the building and the lot. But
Wow.
because we were barbers, one of the gentlemen who was on the planning committee, he was one of our clients. And he was like,
Mm,
listen, they're gonna offer you this, just say no, because it's 315 on the table for y'all. And what happened was my partner, my mother was transitioning, right?
mm.
And my
Sorry.
mother was transitioning, and my son was on his way to DC to be a page.
Got it.
And he was on his way into politics,
So what year was
right?
this? This was about what year?
This was like 2006.
This is like 2006. Okay. And Baltimore is changing then. Yeah, that's
Yeah. So
yeah.
University of Maryland was coming in with their
Yep.
first stage for the bio, and with
The
Mr.
Via
Lenny
part.
being in the community, I had heard about how they what the plans was, but I it was irrelevant because I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention. But
You a
then it
barber.
became a yeah, it became a reality. And what
Hmm.
happened was, and what manifest was with that, when they came in, they brought us out, and the gentleman that negotiated the contract was one of our clients. And he
Wow.
came in and he was like, he went on vacation, he went on sabbatical. When he came back, he was like, "You still here?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Congratulations, the deal went through." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah." He said, "I'm surprised y'all still here. Cause the deal went through and I thought y'all be gone by now." My partner at the time, as my mother transitioning, he's like, "Man, give me the lease so I could take over to my sister to look over it." He gave that lease to the owner, and I had 45 days to get out
What?
and relocate it. And with that, my
Did
thing was,
wait a minute. So were you able to relocate with the cash or you had to just leave?
no, no, because being uninformed,
What?
being uninformed, what I didn't do was I didn't understand business at the time.
Got it.
Okay, and
Hmm.
that copy of the lease, I gave that to my partner instead of having a copy and giving my part.
For
But I
yourself.
but
Mm.
I was young, and
Yes,
it
yes, yes.
worked because I understood that that was a L, that was a life learned lesson, and all I could do. And my thing was, I understood about gentrification enough to know that gentrification works in a 4 block radius. And if they
Hmm.
offer 314 for Salon 25, right?
Right.
And I went around the corner to Highlands Market, for which was one street away, not even a whole block, and opened up that spot that was New Beginnings. And it became New Beginning because it was a new beginning.
So this was literally a new beginning.
And that's why it was New Beginnings,
Uh-huh.
right? And we was
Right.
across from Highlands Market. And my thing was, if they offered 314 for that and I didn't get nothing out of it, and that was just a barber shop, from
Mm.
what I had already knew from all of my previous experiences and what I've learned from Mr. Lenny, if I turn this place into an institution
Wow.
and they come in for to gentrify, they're gonna have to come at a whole nother level. So when I went there and I started New Beginnings with my partners, that's what it
Hmm.
was, a New Beginnings, and I started getting more informed and more connected with the community. And that brought
Mm.
forth more than this, that brought forth New Beginnings. With that, I'm an art lover as well. So I got into the art, and I had neighboring schools around me. I had a high school, elementary school, and alternative school.
Okay.
So I would bring art into the community. And with that, I brought art into the barbershop. It was black art.
Yep.
black
The shop
art,
was beautiful. Yes, black
and
art.
in that I brought in renowned black artists, the same artists that was in the same places as the Reginald Lewis, the Smithsonian, and we started hosting art exhibitions and art receptions the same way. It wasn't posters, as well as collaborating with the schools, the neighborhood association, as well as an adult day program. And it turned that into an institution.
Absolutely, it was.
And then
It was
with
that.
that, that's what separated us. And we started getting those publications from Baltimore Magazine,
Hmm.
showcased in national from NBC Black. For the barbershop, there was an alternative art space. And as you've seen it, we provided Wi-Fi because we addressed the information desert,
Yep.
right? We addressed
Right.
literacy. We collaborated with Kaiser Permanente to address the health disparities
Absolutely.
and
I
major
came in for that.
collaborations and major. And my thing was, if they want to come now, they got to really. And what happened was, it was greater than that. So from that, um, that's when we started crossing paths, and I was being seeked out by other social innovative labs, but I didn't understand the language at the time.
Well, you know what? I was hearing about you, Troy. I was hearing about what you was doing, and it was like, I go the art, and you were having all of these things that at your spot, and you come on that corner. I don't know if anyone knows. You come in the corner, you look over, you look in there, you're like, what is going on in there?
It
It
didn't
was
look like a
beautiful.
barber shop. It didn't look
It
like a
didn't look like
barber
a
shop.
barber shop. It looked like an art gallery with
It was an
people. I
art
mean,
gallery.
it looked like an art gallery. It was beautiful. And so, um, black owned, a black man. And so, and that goes on a lot in Baltimore, but you were doing something different in barbering and it was being talked about. And so I came through with Kaiser Permanente and I was like, who is this guy? And I know you became this social enterprise and didn't even know you was a social
I
enterprise because
didn't know because
you was
I was
pouring
just
into the
doing my
community.
part. I was
Hmm.
just doing my part for my community. And at
Real
that point,
talk.
my thing was people support me. I got to support my community and give back. So we would do like the Halloween giveaways where like how the
Yep.
city would give away the big trash cans. I would go ahead and collect and buy candy, and on Halloween I would go to the schools and all the neighbors, and I would make sure that the kids had safe candy from Halloween. You get what
Hmm.
I'm saying? We did shoe drives, and then I had my annual my annual
The
customer
annual dance.
appreciation, and the customer
Wow.
appreciation grew
It was
till it
huge.
became a block party where and we collaborated, and with
Yep.
that, my barbershop had became an institution where we had collaborated with Red Bull, we had
Yep.
sponsors, we partnered with Kaiser Permanente, the health department, and it was a free block party. Whereas like my
No
thing was,
violence, no
oh
nothing. It was
yeah,
just love.
because it was community.
Yep.
It was community, you
It
know.
was.
It was
It was.
community.
Yeah.
And
We got
and
to
when I
bring
say
that back.
community, yeah,
Got to
if
bring that
you
back,
set
Troy.
the tone, yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna bring that back.
We got to
And
bring
with
that back.
community, that was my way of just saying thank you to give something back. Everything was free.
Yep. Yep.
I brought in a
Yep.
black chef so the kids in the community could see a black chef. We didn't
Yep.
serve hamburgers or hot dogs.
Yep.
We had elbow tables. And with the elbow tables, that forced people to stand up at eye level and to dialogue. With those round
Absolutely.
tables, you can become very antisociable. And we provided everything. All you had to do was bring one thing: bring a good attitude and bring your own chair.
That's it.
And and
And
and we
people
had two
showed up. I
stages.
promise you. People
Yeah, we,
showed
we
up.
had two stages for
Yep.
the 30 and under, and we had a
Yep.
stage for the 40 and over with a DJ. Everything was free. The only thing you didn't get there at that bar party was hamburgers and hot dogs, and I didn't provide aluminum foil. The reason for aluminum foil, that means you can't take it with you. It's for
You
you
can't
here
take that
now.
home, baby. I love
No,
it.
you set
Ain't
the
no plates
tone.
going home.
And with the collaboration with the sponsors, I also, organizations say we would like to clean up. No, we ain't gonna do that. What I would do is for my neighbors and people in the community that came there at the end of the evening, I would have them help me out. I say, man, I just need you to help me out. And at the end, out of respect and understanding community, it would have been a disrespect to have one of these organizations to come and clean up when I have
Mm.
my brother Larry that's standing outside the building every day. He might appear to be homeless, whatever his situation is, he would do it, and then he gonna look at me like, man, you got them doing that. You could have gave that to me. So at
Yep.
the end of the day, I'll say, hey man, I appreciate if you help me up and you clean up. And they would do it anyway. And then I would just say, hey man, I want to know, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you because without you, this couldn't have been done. And here, let me give you something for your time. And they wasn't looking for it, but it was just my way of saying thank you. It's community.
It's
You
community.
know, we never had no violence, no outbreaks or nothing because it's
Love it.
community. With the young guys there, they there, but their parents and their grandparents is there. So
That's
you
true.
eliminate the crime. You eliminate that.
Ain't nothing gonna kick off because they're gonna protect their
No,
own. Yes, that's
yeah.
true.
Why,
Love
why,
that.
why I'm gonna be down there beefing? And the other thing is
Yep.
like this, and I would always make it clear, real simple. If you get in trouble and you need somebody to go to court for you, who else is a bit more credible that can go to court and speak for you? Mr. Troy, you're right. I didn't look at it like that. Thank you. And we didn't have no problems. It's
That's what's up.
community.
That's community. And this is we talking about grassroots relationships. We talking about people right around your business that you connect with.
Yes.
And that's what you do, especially as Black people. We have to have connections other than just money and doing something. Just being community in community. Because you was in a Black community. I
Yeah.
mean, it actually, yeah, it was a Black community, but it actually other people did. It was not just Black around that barber shop.
No, it was a
No, it wasn't
diverse
just Black.
community by Hollis Market because
Yeah,
historically,
it's
on one side
diverse.
of West Baltimore was black, and on the other side was white. And not only
Yes.
was it white, it was poor white.
Yep.
So that's a whole nother culture. So
Whole
to
nother
bring that
culture.
ball to bring that barbershop in the middle of that and mix that whole everything with that community, that's how you sustain culture.
And it
You know
worked.
what I mean? And we had the same artists that you seen in the Reginald Lewis, as well as the Smithsonian and the African American Museum, their work on display. The same way. And then from there, we also brought the kids from the community and to have their work on display with open and closing exhibition. So when the children came through and they did display theirs, they were like, "Mine, my work gonna be at the barber shop. Come by." And guess what? They had the same reception. They had an opening for their art, a
Hmm.
close, and they had a discussion. The same way I did it with the major artists like
Yes.
Charlie Palmer, one of my
Mm.
mentors, Sam Gilliam, Renee Stout, Poncho Brown
Poncho.
from Baltimore, as well as Charles Bibbs.
Love it. Love it. So
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 we
they
did
were
the
able to
work at
experience
that
that same
same,
thing.
yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, you
Amazing.
seen it when you
Uh,
walked in there. What the work was labeled just like you seen in the museum, and
It
because
was
it was
beautiful.
community and it wasn't about Troy, it was
Yep.
about that was our barbershop. We didn't have
Absolutely.
no break-ins.
Wow.
And then on Halloween one year,
Let's
there
talk
was a
about it.
chain of events that took place out of there was a some kid just came in there on Halloween shooting and I got hit and
Mm.
that was a changing point because all the work that I was doing, I got hit. They took me down shock trauma, and the city rallied behind me. And that brought forth more than a shot because I'm down there and Dr. Scalisi, he's evaluating me. And he's like, who are you? What are you? And I'm like, I'm a barber. He was like, you know who I am? I'm like,
The man.
nah.
Dr.
He
Scalisi is
said,
the
I'm Dr. Salit. I said, I heard of you. He said, listen, when they come and get me, it's
he runs
trauma.
he
It's
runs
major.
University of Maryland.
He
Yes, he
said, it's
runs
major.
University
He
of Maryland.
said, either you somebody or it's major. He said, they got me to come down here and check on you. And he said, you're not a barber.
More than a
And I was
barber.
like,
Yep.
yeah. And I was like, what? And the way the city rallied behind me, it was like what I was doing in that one location. needed to be replicated.
Yes.
And that brought forth more than a shop. And I got with some friends and we scaled out. And from that day, 2018 on Halloween to this present moment, we have worked with the CDC doing COVID vaccinations. We've
Beautiful.
worked with Maryland and Baltimore City Health Department, the mayor's office, Enoch Pratt. We have helped distribute over 600 tablets in 6 different locations. We've did from with Kaiser Permanente, we went from 117 screenings in the first year in the pilot to coming out to the pandemic. We had did over at last count well of 8 to 10,000 healthcare screenings in 21223 with Kaiser Permanente.
Wow.
Um, we've addressed information deserts. We have barbershops throughout the city. We just was showcased in Baltimore Magazine with the Buzz, and we gave them I helped them with 4 different locations throughout the city,
Mm.
as well as I went back to one of my master barbers, Cornell, who showcased it hair masters in Northwest Baltimore. To that was one location. Then we did one showcase another barbershop that is in Fells Point with Mike Jones, Clipper City, right across from
Mm-hmm.
the Pendry, where it's Mike Jones, and he has a nice upscale shop with him and a few white barbers right
Yep.
there. Then we go to Charles Village with Cindy Otter with Reflections Essential, where they do the chess tournaments and other community. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have another location over on Eastern Avenue with Be More Cut with Ivan
Brother
Rodriguez,
Ivor. Yep.
Brother Ivan with his 15 different, and it shows the diversity, the network, the expansion
Yes.
of more than a shop, the realm, and how we are addressing issues in the community. And you are familiar with all the barbers that I just spoke with.
Ivan used to cut my hair. Ivan is my man. And I'm familiar with the barbers, I'm familiar with the spots. And that's what community and you're going where people go. See, this is what it
Yes.
is. Sometimes when we give away because these tablets they were giving away, they couldn't even give them away. They had
No.
to find people because they can't touch the people. You can touch the people. Barbers touch people. Beauticians touch people. And so they had to go to the folks who are in the
The
community with the
community.
people. And that is how they got these because they were giving away chrome tablets and they could not give them away. People were scared to come get them at Enoch
Yes.
Pratt. That's what it is. They wouldn't go to the library to go get them. They just wouldn't. But they'd go to the barbershop because they trust their barbers. They trust their
Just trusted
beauticians.
relationships. And with that,
Exactly.
with more than a shot, we have our regular monthly information sessions where we inform the barbers with the proper information and resources so you're not just getting misinformation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, like up in
Hmm.
Park Heights, with our collaboration with Baltimore City Health Department and R&D associates with health and sex information, Park Heights, you have a high level of teenage STDs as well
Mm,
as elders with STDs because the
really?
elders are having sex with the
Each
youth.
other. Woo,
Yes,
stop it. That's what's going on.
but
Wow. And so you see this STDs is moving around. Wow, that's amazing.
so what we do, we provide information, condoms, the
Yeah.
proper usage for male and female condoms, you know, as well as other resources. So like now with Center for Urban Families, where they are doing expungements,
Hmm.
every second Thursday of the month at the Center for Urban Families, as well as how to address child support issues where you get into the program and they'll help you to address the child support where you stay and you consistent with paying making your payments that you can knock it
Hmm.
down, and if you complete the program your debt will be eliminated with child support, and that'll help you to get those issues straighten with your child support yourself with your license,
Wow.
as well as expungements, job
Wow.
placement, because we
Because to
address
keep
the issues through the barbershops and beauty
through the
salons
barbershop. Yeah. Well,
because we
people
are
have to build
trusted.
relationships. Yes,
Yeah,
relationships. Wow. Because that keeps a lot of families together, keep men out of jail, keep women out of jail. A lot
yeah.
of this going in and out of jails because people don't have the resources to deal with their issues, child support or whatever, what have you. And so all of this, it all works, but it starts with the connection.
Yeah, as well as job placement and job training.
Wo-
People
Wow.
come home from, as well as like one of the things we're working on now is with the opioid response, with the
Mm.
Norcan and other
Yes.
these other recovery programs and substance abuse, as well as mental health and trauma response, as being a part of the Healing City with our new, but our new president city councilman, eh, Z Cohen, as well as with our present mayor, Mayor Scott, addressing trauma, trauma
Hmm.
response, substance abuse, Norcan, where now you have Norcan information in Norcan, as well as how to address the myths in a community. Say, like, if someone has a overdose, you don't have to
Hmm.
leave them no more. You
Wow.
hit them with the Norcan, bring them back, call for someone to help them out, and you don't have to leave because you're not going to be charged with that old information that you get a murder charge. No, you
and
know.
and that's what you need. We got to stop penalizing people's pain,
Yeah.
and yeah, and if someone is rescuing them, they're gonna go to jail. Come on, we got to do better than that. It sounds like some restorative justice. It's like we're looking how to restore people and then to put them in jail or put them in a space. So restorative justice works.
So, like as you speak, and it's funny that you speak of restorative justice because we also have work with like Ray was it
Ray Kelly.
Ray Farm? Yeah, yeah, yeah. With
Mm.
his issues, with his resource. So the collaboration with more than a shop is we're more than just barbers, more than salons, more than stylists, more than nail tech. You educate and you inform them, and we educate and we bring the information back to the community in these
Wow.
untraditional spaces with
Hmm.
trusted partners, whom are what? Barbers, beauticians, and stylists.
Hmm. How receptive have they been to this type of program, the barbers and because it starts with them. They have the connection with the people. So how receptive has it been? Hard for you to galvanize them into this space, or they've been real receptive to try to pour into the community?
Well, it hasn't been a real issue with me because I am a barber.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, and with that, if you one thing everybody know, you say what Troy, you say Troy the cut hair, Troy's the barber, Troy haircut, Troy. I've been doing one thing. I've been consistent with that.
Got it.
So
Got
it's
it.
not
Got it.
like I'm not a barber and I'm trying to come in. It's lead by example.
You are a barber. Yep.
You lead by example, and then I'm not coming from the back door. I'm not going to tell
Hmm.
you one thing and then do something else. Well, I have people that's been with me with more than a shot from the beginning. You ask them, see what they have to say about their experiences.
Hmm.
One thing about barbers and BS and stylists, they BS proof.
They don't have time
You
for
deal
it.
with it always. So,
Yep.
like with that, and we lead by example.
Hmm.
And if I'm gonna be any part, anyone that's collaborating, that's gonna work with more than a shop, this isn't a fly by night. You cannot come in and say I want to do this for no. It's consistency. We have to do this, and this has to be an ongoing process. Because
Mm.
we are the trusted people. We get people from their first haircut to their last haircut.
Wow. That's their whole life. Wow.
We work on generations.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
this day and age, um, by the time you give a person this first haircut, by the time they reach their 30s, they're a grandparent in this day and age. Sad to be said. I mean, it's sad, but it's
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 the truth.
true. because
It's
we
true.
start to reproduce at a much younger rate.
Yep. Yep.
If you have your
Every,
first child by the time you 16, by the time you get to your 30s, that child that had one, you're a
yep.
grandpa.
I had a friend 38 was he was a grandfather. I mean, it happens.
Yes,
When you start early, it's happening. If society is moving forward, technology is pushing us forward. Our sexuality is going to go forward too, and our interactions with sex are earlier too. So all of that happens. So what do we do now? How do we get to information to lessen STDs, to lessen issues? Listen, it's more than a shop. You got to go to the barbers. You got to go to the
you
beauticians. Those are places.
you
That's where it's at.
you inform the barber and the beautician, and they inform the community. Because one thing about barbers and beauticians is, most people live within a 4 block radius.
Mm,
Within a
mm,
4 block radius, what
they're
sits
not
in those
far.
4 blocks? There's always a barber shop or a beauty salon.
You ain't lying. Wow, that is true. That
And
is
the
true.
barbers
Go ahead.
and your barber and beautician, they even touch the demographic that the church doesn't.
That's true because everybody wants to look good, and that's where you got to go to look good.
Everybody,
Everybody going
even
to
even
every.
even the even the pastor, the nuns and
Yep,
the ministers, you know what I mean?
they go in
They
too.
they
Everybody.
they go into.
Everybody. This was a unique and great idea. And did from you being shot, was this what this came from, or you had this in your mind like I got to do more? Was being shot the impetus to birth this greatness more than a shot?
That was how they say, you make the plan, you can't plan the outcome.
Whoa.
And at one point, I used to be like, "Boy, when that moment gonna happen?" But then when it came, and it's also about the elevation of, like, we are only as healthy as the people that we surround ourselves with. So if I'm the
So
smartest person in my circle,
hmm,
I'm in trouble. But at this time, I'm surrounding with other individuals, and when it happened, they was like, "This is how we handle this. This is how we do it." And I saw the
mm,
way that the level of support came around me and my family after that shooting, and it was like, I'm doing something right. It must be something right. Now
mhm,
I need to show others, and we can scale out, and we can do it. And
hmm.
from there, it's been a movement with more than a shop, and we have like 20 different locations. I have 15 solid shops and locations. And now with that, we're about to expand even more to some ambassador shops to work under what we're doing. And we are the
Beautiful.
only ones throughout the nation that is actually doing the work here in Baltimore.
So this
There
is
are a few
almost
other.
a pilot program. Wow.
It's not a pilot, it's reality.
I mean, it's reality. I mean, but the rest of
Yeah, I
the
know what you're
pilot,
saying. Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
have started something that might
We
sweep over the
really doing
world.
it. Yeah, we
Yeah,
really doing it. We really doing it. We've been we regular on Marty Bass. Where's Marty?
that's true.
We've been on international PBS,
Wow.
ABC, World World News, as well as oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue, but it was on Showtime. Man,
Showtime. I know you've been on Black Box Radio. That's
we've
what they
been
do
on
now.
Black Box Radio,
You
PBS,
better know it.
International. Oh man,
Wow,
um,
that's amazing.
we've been on a lot of major publications, write
Media
ups,
spaces.
stories. Yes, we've been there. Showtime, HBO has done little clips and major collaborations. I'm also a 3 time social innovation fellow.
Mm-hmm. You
Yes,
are
a
that?
social innovator. Oh, I love it. It was very informative, enlightening, and engaging. And it was
Exactly.
I got to meet other like-minded individuals that brought
Exactly.
us together, you know,
Absolutely. OSI.
OSI,
We both are OSI fellows.
Warnock, or
More
yes,
not.
OSI fellow,
Mm-hmm.
Warnock fellow, Elevate, Baltimore Corp,
Baltimore Core. Yep.
yeah,
Same thing. Yep.
Latino Economic Fellow,
Excellent.
yes.
Excellent. Excellent. So you guys are spreading like mustard. I love it. I love it. So what is next for More Than a Shop? Because I hear you guys have given out the Chrome tablets to the community, to the youth in the community. You've done COVID vaccination. You're working with STDs and dealing with vi- viral diseases. What's next for More Than a Shop? What do you see you guys going next?
So where we are now, what's taking place with 2025 is we will be working directly with the city with this
Mm,
opioid response, addressing
got
that
it.
with the
Mhm.
opioid response as well as other collaborating partners. You know,
Got it. Got it.
we'll be doing our own podcast as well as
Good.
and we'll have you on that as well
Please.
as shop talks with barbers that won't be scripted or none of that. We're going to real like the same dialogue that you get in the shops.
Mhm.
Um, we'll be doing other community engagements. We'll be back to celebrating the community with uh, block parties and other receptions, as
Yeah.
well as to expand throughout from the city to going state and looking to take this national, from national
Beautiful.
to international. You
Love
know,
it.
because the work that we have been doing here in Baltimore is the work that's really been done. There's
Hmm.
others who say they have been doing the work, but they really haven't.
So you got a blueprint. You got a blueprint, and you could send this all around. That's beautiful. I mean, I think it's next level. I think it's so next level that is so community centered and it's still grassroots. You can touch these are people you have connections with. It's not like someone coming in your neighborhood and tell you, I got this good for you. This
Yeah.
is someone you talk to, your children know, and that person is helping you with your stuff, past your haircut, past your hairstyle. So how better can that be? Because we all got issues, and if we can get a trusted partner to bring us to some information, that's a sweet spot.
Yes,
That is,
and
yeah, sweet spot.
to the point, like I say, where the stylists and the barbers, we have um, information and training sessions with them as well. So the stylists and the barbers now have someone that we can talk to that talks to and help us with our stress. Because what a lot of people don't understand is your barber or your stylist, they deal with things that a lot of people isn't socially or aware of. And
Absolutely.
it's common these days for a barber to come to work and they might first client might be someone come and say, man, um, my niece, my nephew, my son was just murdered,
Yeah.
just shot. And then you going through that with that family and you've been have a relationship with this individual and they point that into you and then within that same day, a couple hours later, the actual shooter come in and talk about, man, I didn't mean to do it.
Oh, wow. That's
Now
that's
that's
amazing. Whew,
that's
that's a
just in
lot.
one day, right? And
One
that don't
day.
have nothing to do with the other 10 or 15 people that came in with their issues for that one
Yep.
day. And then they had to go home and deal with what's going on with them. So that brings forth a lot of trauma,
Yep. Stress.
stress, anxieties. And
Mm-hmm.
with that, in the barbering and stylist community, that's why you have such a high level of alcoholism,
Yeah.
substance abuse,
Yep.
mental illness, and trauma. Because you're dealing with that on a regular basis. And if you're dealing with that on one day, who knows the other issues that goes on the other 5 days?
They're carrying a lot.
That's a lot. So with
It's a
that
lot.
and understanding that, that's how come I have the therapist come in and talk to help address these issues. A healthy barber and a healthy stylist helps to create a healthy community.
Love that. I love that. I came to one of those,
Solutions
and
over problems.
yes, it's beautiful. I came to one of that. I witnessed that myself. This, which the barbers getting their training and the beauticians getting their training,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's
you
and
did come to one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I came to one, and that's a beautiful experience, to see that. And not only are they given, because what I say is barbers and bartenders and they hear it all. No, they, they hear
Yes.
it all, and so they need somebody to talk to too. And so to see them be able to kind of get tools for their own toolbox is important because we need them. We definitely need them. So Troy, I mean, you're doing some amazing work in this Baltimore. Amazing work. I didn't know you was doing the opioid. You was moving into that. That's amazing because it's a heavy problem in Baltimore. The pill game is big, baby. The pill game is not for the weak in Baltimore.
Well, with that, like I say, it's about solutions over problems.
It is.
It's about
It is.
solutions over problems. And like I was taught, what I mean, I have an obligation, I have a commitment to my community, to the people who helped and supported me. If I have the access and resources, the least I can do is to be a part of the solution rather than the problem and help and address the same people who help and support me and my family. Because
I love it.
for a person who has no sense of formal education and to do and to bring forth things, that's the least I could do. You know,
Doing a lot.
my
Doing,
son, what I found out historically is that some of the most influential people were actually children and descendants of barbers and stylists.
really? Wow.
Yes, some of the most because of the resource. See, like historically, coming out of slavery, and
Hmm.
most the first job that a slave and sharecropper could have coming out of there was to be a blacksmith or a barber.
Hmm.
Yes, and the barber, good barber, went from one plantation to another plantation to cut the masses and the masses' family hair. You never use the same shade for a man or you did with a woman. And you
Hmm.
definitely didn't cut no blackheads with those materials. But you ready for this one? With that barber that went from plantation to plantation to cut hair, he also ministered, and that's how they carried the word.
See, I
Historical
said
context.
we're the most creative people in the world. We find a way.
And most barbers growing up were what? What? Also the minister or the
Mm.
deacon.
Wow. Wow. So you see where it comes from, right?
So
Oh
all of
man,
that coincide.
it's history. Yep.
Yeah, so and all of that work. So
Hmm.
if you know better, you do better. So but what I found out was this was like me being that kid in that barber, and I went from one master to another master. I remember as a kid in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s, I would could go to like the after hours with some of these older barbers, and all of them, they all party together. They
Hmm.
all party, they all drank. But guess what? They never collaborated. And
Hmm.
with a lack of collaboration, those old barbers and those old beauty salons,
Are
They never
gone.
created a legacy.
Yes, they're gone.
Why?
Wow.
It goes back to the historical content of what? Sharecroppers. I'll teach you everything you know, but I won't teach you everything that I know because if I taught you everything that I know, you become independent. You don't need me no more.
Mm,
So that's how come when the barber that your father and your uncles went to, when they died, what happened? That barbershop closed down.
they close. Yeah.
Right or wrong? You get what I'm
It's
saying?
it's true. Some iconic barbershops I know alone is just closed.
But
Wow.
with me being there and I understand ignorance, if you know better, you do better. So what's the one thing you noticed when you went to the more than the shop meeting? Everybody was working together, everybody was collaborating.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah. That makes
what I'm
sense.
not doing is we're not competing for a trophy to say who's the best barber or who's the best. That was very detrimental to the barbering community because that brought forth what? The barber battles, the barber concert, and it's a battle,
Competitions.
it's a war. You competing against one another instead of collaborating.
Mm, wow. Didn't think of it like that. We always think competition is fun and the show, but really it quells collaboration. And in our community, we have to collaborate. We got
And
it.
we
We got to
never
come together.
collaborate.
Yeah. Wow. That is something. Troy, you are now the barber, politician, professional. Do you cut hair anymore, sir?
Listen, a
You
couple
the
years ago, my
leadership.
son told me,
Do
he
you
was
cut
like,
hair,
listen,
sir?
he was like, you know, you're gonna have to stop cutting hair. I was like, why? He said, because you're gonna have to be going to this. And I was like,
I'm
man, I
telling
love
you.
it. And like right now, I'm really not cutting hair because I
I
don't have
know. I
time.
know.
I'm
I
I'm
can't.
always in a meeting. I'm
Always in the
always
meeting.
working for the cause, for the
Mhm.
solution, whether it's for one of the stylists, one of the barbers.
Mhm.
But and that took me out of the shop. My
Mhm.
goal was as a small kid, I always said by the time I turned 50, I wanted to go into my first stage of retirement. Right. And that was like cut hair a couple days at my leisure, do some community work, and had me a for profit and non-profit.
You look like you're
That
doing it. Look
the
like
only
that's
thing
what you're
is,
doing.
I'm not cutting because I don't. I'm doing other things, but I would love to. But I tell you this much though,
What?
keep the eye out for some of the new flagship offices that's in the early development stages throughout the city, and they're gonna be flagship.
I love it.
We talking about two, possibly three new more than a shop flagship headquarters where there will be a conference room,
Okay.
okay, um, conference room, nice, all the nice amenities,
Mhm.
okay, as well as gonna bring a receptionist back into the shop.
Wow.
And everything will not be about overpriced haircuts that's unaffordable and unattainable, right? And everything will not be about appointment only. Because how can you serve the community if everything is on appointment? You still
That's
have to
true.
have some walk-ins. That's how the new barbers build their clientele through the
True.
walk-ins.
Yeah. And that's how the
We don't
conversation roll. You need people in the barbershop,
you
you
don't
know?
have that in the barbershop these days because
They
everybody
cute
want to
now.
come in the appointment and there's no dialogue.
Yeah. It's no conversation, no dialogue. You gotta have the
No
barbershop
dialogue.
was the cornerstone of the black community. That's what we taught.
And we got away from that.
Yep. Yep.
So now we're going to bring some of that back where
I
you
love it.
will have appointments, but everything isn't by appointments. You still going to be able to do some walk-ins.
Okay. So you doing some flag. You really is a corporate, you're the corporate barber now. I see you.
No, well,
I
if I
definitely
don't
see you.
understand nothing else, The only thing I really do understand is barber. I've been a barber my whole life. I
Wow.
understand this from all different dynamics.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, YouTube barber, he's great, but you can edit that.
Ooh.
But
Can't edit what you do. Wow.
right, but the young barber that's learning and training,
Mhm.
you can learn on your own, but it's nothing like having someone to say, listen, try this blade, let's blend this, let's do that to help you out and to work you through that.
Yeah.
And you can't learn that if you're doing that all on your own in a suite. But if you in a salon and you in a barber shop, we need to bring this shampoo person back into the salon.
Hmm. You going back old school, ain't you?
Yeah, because
You
that's how
ain't
the
playing.
stylists learn. You know,
Hmm.
um, in a collaboration and supporting some other friends, uh, Jabbar from Conscious Head. You
My
know,
man Jabari.
he went on the front line and he implemented and fought with Davon Love and Adam. And what did they and with Jabbar, and now the barbers can have three apprentices
Yep.
under
That's a
them,
beautiful thing. Yep.
as well as the stylists. That come from collaborations,
Yep.
thinking outside the block with Jabbar.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he has the barber boot camp.
Yeah.
With the
Jabari
boot
got the
camp,
bar
they
for
working. Yeah,
exactly.
they working with these young kids, these young barbers. Not a
Yep. He's
barber
bringing
school,
up
but
a
a boot
whole.
camp.
Yes, I love that. Bringing up a whole young, youthful cohort of barbers into the
Barbers,
city.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful. Yep.
This is it.
Love.
You know what I mean? And he doing it the right way.
Yep.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Where they bringing forth and then advocating for the community, starting, and I deeply support that. Like I said, I started at 13, so I know.
What if you had a boot camp or someone that you had to figure it
And
out.
that
You did a good
and and
job.
and that's so. Like I say, I understand this, and it's not like this is no battle. No, this is comes from collaborating when you have barbers from all throughout work together and collaborate instead of I'm better than that. They better than no. Let's work together. Let's you know better. You do better. It's about solutions over problems.
Listen, I think you just dropped it. I was going to tell you drop a jewel, and I think the jewel is solutions over problems. That's the jewel tonight. Listen, we've been here an hour and 20. You know, I could talk to you forever. I love this guy. I love this guy. I always tell him I love the work he does. We're gonna circle back to that block party. I've been on you for about two and
We're
a
going
half
to
years
do
for the
that.
block party. We're
We
gonna
we're
circle
going to
back
do
for
that.
that.
We're going to
Yes,
do
we're gonna
that.
do that. But
So
definitely
y'all
do
can look
that.
for that. Y'all can look for something from us in this
Black
summer,
box and
this
more than
year.
a shop. We coming.
Yes.
We coming. We're gonna do something for the community in Baltimore City. And Troy, you got all the connections. You know, you the plug. I'm just rolling with you for real, for real, for real. Like they say like the kids say, I'm rolling with you for real, for real. But listen, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed your story. I did not know the whole story. I heard the story tonight, and I'm glad we didn't dwell on when you were shot, because what you shot when you were shot, that brought you to your greatness. I think that was the precipice to bring you right into where you are today. And sometimes we got to go through to get to. And so
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm just so glad to have this guy. I've been trying to walk you down for, I think, four. I've been in this business for 5 years. 4 years I've been trying to have you sit in that seat. 4 years I've been wanting to talk to you. So this has been the Men in Black series. I just appreciate you, Troy. Thanks for bringing all of your love, all of your your transparency to this. If you need anything in what you're doing, holler at a sister. Let me come through and do whatever you guys need. And listen, if y'all got some podcasts, y'all can bring that onto the box. Listen,
We
we can
will.
talk
You
we can talk about that too.
listen, if you need
Platform
some
that thing.
barbers or you need barbers or stylists, we can do it.
Yeah, we definitely could do that. So we can talk. We got a lot of things to talk about. But listen, this is the Men in Black series, guys. Thank everyone for being here. We've had Troy Staton. He has dropped the jewel. What is it, Charles? Hit it again. Something over problems.
Solutions over problems.
Solutions over problems. Make that a part of your day. Thank you guys for hanging with us. Please like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also check out our revamped website at blackboxradio.com. We've had a good night tonight. This is the Men in Black Series 2025. We out here. Let's get a piece, bro. We gone. Deuces, guys. Good night.
Peace. Good night.
Good night, Troy. Don't go nowhere. We out here.